Hello you guys, it is me, it is I. Hi. Hello, hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ivy, also known as the Geek Goddess, and today I have a huge haul for you. I have over 40 bucks to show you guys here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with this humongous book haul. Alright, so I don't know where to start. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and start with the nearest stack to me, which would be the books that I got on Amazon. So let me go ahead and get started with those. So these are all the books that I got on Amazon over the past few months that I haven't showed you guys yet. So let's start with this stack. Starting off with the first book is WTF Just Happened by Elizabeth Enton. This is actually one that my fiance got on Amazon for me, and I'm currently in the process of finishing it or reading it for this month. I'm hoping to get it done before the month ends. So this one is basically a sciencey skeptic guide to the afterlife. So it's basically explaining the afterlife in a scientific sort of way, and along with like studies and scientific things behind it. So I like that. I'm a very I very much believe in like the afterlife and like paranormal stuff, but I love when there's science that backs it up. So I am absolutely enjoying this. So if you are a skeptic but believer, I would definitely suggest, highly suggest picking this up, because as you can see, I've tabbed it so much. I love this book. The next one that I got is another supernatural, spiritual, sort of supernatural but backed up by science book, and that is Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza, How Common People Are Doing the Uncommon. And this is again talking about like bridging the gap between like spirituality and science. I love stuff like this. So this is going to be the nonfiction book that I read for the month of June. So I'm excited to be picking this one up. Hopefully I can finish it within a month because it is very text heavy, but I'm excited. I'm excited for this one. Now, the next books that I got are all fictional books. And the first one is one that everybody is talking about and that I plan on reading this month, and that is The Ever King by L.J. Andrews. This is basically about, I think, a pirate. So, oh, he's a king. He's a king that has been like stuck in some place called the Ever. And so one day his arch nemesis daughter frees him from the Ever, and so he ends up like kind of taking her in and like as like a pawn for this whole whatever game these two rivals are playing. It kind of reminds me of Hooked by Emily McIntyre, but I'm hoping it has more fantasy elements because that one was just pure dark romance, and I want fantasy, especially if it involves pirates. I heard this is very much enemies to lovers. Like if you want to read true enemies to lovers, this is a good one. And I'm excited. It's a dark fantasy romance, and there is artwork in here. Need I say more? And then the next book that we have here is Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. This is another one that I'm going to be reading this month during the month of June for a vlog that I have coming out in July where I read YouTubers' favorite standalones. This is one of Riley Marie's favorite standalones, and this one also has a pirate, and our main character is wanted for piracy, and it seems like this is also has like a love triangle or a why choose. It seems like there's multiple men to choose from in this one, or multiple love interests. I'm not sure if they're all men. They could be, I don't know if they're all men, but I know there's like multiple love interests. I don't know if it's gonna be why choose or love triangle. Either way, I'm all for it. I love why choose and I love love triangle tropes, especially when they're written in adult romances and not YA. So I know I'm gonna like this one. All right, so the next book that I have from Amazon is How Does It Feel? How Does It Feel? How Does It Feel by Janine O'Reilly. This is one that I have heard everybody talking about on Booktok. and everybody was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Everybody's gonna read it. And I was like, okay, I have to read it now. I don't know what it's about. It says, a forbidden obsession, unyielding family allegiances, 3 deadly challenges. Okay, so it's a human and a fae. Don't they all start that way? I rhymed. I didn't mean to, but it happened. Okay, yay! I did it again! Okay, so all I know is this is a fae romance. It's called, literally the series is called The Infatuated Fae. As you can see, book 1, book 2 is out now. This, I got it when it was self-published, but now I think it's been like published out, like mass published. So good for her. I love that like that's happening to a lot of authors now. That makes me very happy. So next is a pre-order that came in that I had pre-ordered a while ago, and that is Gothicana by Runix. This is the purple stenciled edges because I absolutely love purple. I love purple. I don't know when I'm gonna get to this one, but I'm excited to get to this one because it's gorgeous. It has, again, the stenciled edges. It has these beautiful illustrations on the inside. It has Varenmore, which is the name of the academy, the Gothic Academy. And this is basically about a Gothic academy, and we're following a particular student who ends up being enlisted into this Gothic college, academy, whatever. And there is this one teacher specifically that she ends up having a romance with, but I guess every single year or every so many years, a girl goes missing from the academy, and he may have something to do with it. And I'm excited for this one. This is a dark romance, but it has Gothic vibes, and I have not read any goth literature or Gothic fiction or like dark academia, so I'm excited to explore the genre, and I'm gonna have a whole vlog coming out for like reading dark academia for the first time. So I'm excited for that, but that's not coming out till like months later. Okay, and the last book that I got is a new release that I'm so excited to get to, and that is 5 Broken Blades by Mai Corland. Because, okay, so this one was on Book of the Month, but I didn't want to get the Book of the Month edition because I needed the stenciled edges in my life. Like, this is just so beautiful. It's literally artwork. Like, this is art. This is art. I love that we're starting to see more and more books with like stenciled edges. Plus, again, you have artwork on the inside. You have a print on the... Like, is this not gorgeous? There's like moon... Oh my gosh. This is just stunning. It's just stunning. Okay, and in this one we are following 5 thieves, I believe. Are they thieves? Assassins? Killers. Okay, so there's 5 killers, and they're basically all sent to kill this king. And so they have to work together. Obviously, there's 5 different criminals, and they have to work together to kill this king that is supposedly unkillable, but I believe if you take his crown, he is vulnerable. So they need to steal his crown so that they can unalive the king, but then afterwards there's only 1 crown and there's still 5 killers. So who's going to reign supreme here? This one seems so good. I love like competition like sort of settings. It reminds me a lot of like Throne of Glass or Among Thieves, which is a book that I read earlier this year that is very lesser known, but it should be more well known because I thought it was a really fun time. And this is the start of a series, so we shall see how this series progresses. So we finished 1 stack. Let us go ahead and move on to the next stack that I have for you. The next stack is going to be all the books that I got at Target. So these are books that I got at Target. These are books that my fiance bought me at Target. And yeah, so these are just strictly Target books. So the first one is Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. I never hauled this one, but I am actually almost done with this one. I'm about less than 100 pages from finishing it, and in this one we are basically following a serial unaliver who is known as the matchmaker, and what he likes to do is he likes to take people that are not together as a couple, and he likes to make them do horrible things to each other until they fall in love, and then once they fall in love, he ends up unaliving the other one in front of each other. And so we are following these two characters. We are following Cora and we are following Dean, and Cora and Dean have hated each other for the past 15 years because Cora's sister is actually Dean's fiance, and they end up, of course, getting kidnapped together, and the whole matchmaker thing ensues. And this book is just so good. It is dark. It is dark. So when you are going to read this, prepare your mind, because it's pretty dark. There's a lot of dark topics on here. Please check up trigger warnings, because like I said, a very dark read, but so far I'm really enjoying this. Like, I can already see this becoming one of my top favorite reads of the year, if not of all time, because I'm absolutely loving this. Like, I'm finding myself crying, laughing, screaming. It's just so good. It's just so good. So that's this one. And the next one is another dark romance. As you can see, I've been on a dark romance kick. Especially when there's serial unalivers. That seems to be my favorite, like, dark romance trope. That seems to be what works for me, especially if the serial unaliver is a woman. That's it. But this one, I caught Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. Now, I have previously read Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. I believe that's the only one that I've read by her, and I really actually enjoyed that one a lot. So we'll see how I feel about this one. I know they just redid the covers. I actually don't know what it's about. I think this one is also about a serial unaliver. I don't know, I want to say that this is about a serial unaliver. Yeah, I think this is about a serial unaliver, if I'm not mistaken. It says, dreams might be a heart's desire, but nightmares are its obsession. In this first novel of a dark romance series from New York Times bestselling author Penelope Douglas. I'm not sure if it follows one main character in the whole Devil's Night series, or if they're all different characters. To be honest, I know nothing about this. I just know that one of them, at least one of them, is about a serial unaliver, and I'm excited. I'm excited because the previous book that I read by Penelope Douglas was a 5 out of 5 star, I believe, for me. So I'm excited for this one, and yeah, and that's all I know about it. I kind of want to go into this one blindly. She's a little bit chunky, but she cute. She cute. I like the cover. I liked the old covers more. I want to see if I could get the old covers, but I still like the color scheme. Next one we have is a YA. I know I don't have too many YAs in this whole thing, because you know I'm not a YA person, but I really wanted to check this one out because everyone seems to like really enjoy it, and that is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I heard even though this is YA, it's still very fast-paced and it's still a good read, so I did want to give it a shot. All I know is that it's about Enma Durder. That's all I know about it, honestly. It's a mystery thriller, I believe. I think there's gonna be a show, if I'm not mistaken, on this. The next one is A Fate Inked in Blood by Daniel L. Jensen. This is another one that was on Book of the Month, but I really wanted to get this edition because, again, we have the beautiful sparkly blue stenciled edges, and I've never seen sparkly stenciled edges, so I was like, yeah, I definitely have to get that one. And this is a Norse mythological retelling of, I believe, Freya, the goddess Freya, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm excited for this one. This is another one that I've heard nothing but good things about. I love books that have mythology in it. I love Norse mythology, Greek mythology, Chinese mythology, anything with mythology I'm all for, so I'm definitely very excited for this one. The next one is a book that I've been dying to read. And then it was taken off of Amazon because it went from self-published to like mass market publishing. But I'm excited that I actually finally got my hands on it. And that is, I plan on reading it next month, and we shall see, because this is a thick ass book, you guys. This book is thick with 2 C's. And that is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. As you can see, she is chunky. She's hella chunky, oh my goodness. But I heard that this one is like, if you liked Fourth Wing, you would enjoy this one. So that's why I have to read this. Like, there's no way that I can't read it. I heard it's fast paced. I heard we have another badass MC like we did in Fourth Wing, but she's even more badass than Violet in Fourth Wing, and I cannot wait for that. I'm just so excited. This one, even though I've read the synopsis so many times, I still can't grasp exactly what it's about. It's about dragons. And that's all I know. And that's all I know. And there's something else that happens. Obviously. So that's all I know. It's a national bestseller. This is another one that, like Fourth Wing, it just blew up out of nowhere. And now everybody and their mamas are talking about it. So I need to read this. I need to read this. Like, period. Next, we have another dark romance. As you can see, I'm on a dark romance kick, and that is Her Soul to Take and this is a best-selling TikTok dark romance that again was republished for like mass market publishing. And this one, I believe it's about like a girl. Okay, the way that it was explained to me, the synopsis says one thing, but the way that it was explained to me was that this is about a girl that like gets dared to like summon a demon, and she does so, and then this demon like holds her captive, or like it does something. It's like a demon human romance, okay? And it's about this girl that like really likes paranormal stuff, and then she summons a demon. That already to me is like, I need this in my life. And so I got it. This one is another chonker, but I don't know. I guess dark romance has just been my thing lately. Not all dark romance has been my thing. For example, Haunting Adeline was definitely not my thing, but we shall see what we think of this one. Next is another, are you surprised, dark romance. And what is my favorite subgenre within dark romance? Serial unalive dark romance. And that is what we are getting with There Are No Saints by Sophie Lark. I was told that this is a serial unalive couple romance. And it says back here, she is no saint. She knows he's no saint. She has no idea that she's dancing with the devil. I'm excited for this one because I heard it's serial unalivers. A serial unaliver dark romance. And that is my favorite type of romance. So this one was just gifted to me, so it's just like randomly here and I don't know where to place it. But I got Homebody by Rupi Kaur. I actually read this last year on my Kindle, and I actually own it on Kindle, but somebody gifted this one to me in like this like book exchange that we did, and I'm really happy. I'm really excited for this one because now I can go back and actually physically highlight and tab the different poems that like speak to me. Rupi Kaur writes a lot of beautiful poetry. It can be very moving and very dark, and can definitely bring up a lot of feelings, but I absolutely love that about her poetry. And so I'm excited to go back and reread this and highlight the bejabbers out of it. So that's Homebody by Rupi Kaur. So the next stack that we are going to do is going to be book boxes. So we have two different book boxes. It's a Lumicrate and then Book of the Month, because I got a lot of books by Book of the Month. Not a lot. Yeah, so we're gonna do book boxes next, and then we're gonna move on to the huge ass pile that is Barnes & Noble last. But first, let's do book boxes. Okay, so these are the books that I got from two different book boxes. I only have two different book boxes right now. I did get a third, so we'll see how that goes. But the first one is from my Lumicrate box. I did a whole video on this, but I got To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods by Molly X. Chang. You guys may or may not know that this is also a YA. I think this has to do with like Roman and Chinese mythology, or it's Roman and Chinese inspired, something like that. I'm not sure too much about what it's about. I know that the author of Iron Widow blurbed it, and I actually enjoyed her book a lot last year, right? Or maybe this year. I don't remember when I read it, but I liked it, and I'm excited for this one, even though it is YA. I actually had no choice but to get this one, so I didn't skip it. I wish I could, but I couldn't skip it. I had to get it because it was the first book box, and you can't skip the first box or else you would have to be put on the waiting list all over again, and I was not going to do that. So this one I'm excited for it because we got like the stenciled edges here. This reminds me of Frozen. And then we have, oh my god, the artwork. And then on the other side we have, oh my god, the artwork. And then if you take this off, it's also super pretty. You got the Roman side, you got the Chinese side, you got the middle. And then, it looks like this when I open it. And it's just so pretty. It's just so pretty. So next are going to be the books that I got for the past few months on Book of the Month. You guys may or may not know that at the beginning of the month, I do a pick or skip or buy or skip for the Book of the Month choices, where I decide what books I'm going to pick and then which books I'm going to skip. So these are the books that I got for the past few months for Book of the Month. The first one being The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. This is a historical fantasy book that deals with our main character, who I believe has some sort of like powers or something like that with magic, that ends up being exposed to the lady that like, she's like the lady servant, but then she gains more attraction from this other person who's trying to like impress the king or something like that. And I think she gets thrown in some sort of challenge or something. She gets thrown into something. The next one is one that I'm really excited about. So something that I recently found out not too long ago that I enjoy is sci-fi. I actually really love sci-fi. I found that out in like towards the end of 2023 that sci-fi seems to be my jam as well. On top of fantasy, I enjoy sci-fi. So I'm excited for this baby here, and that is The Ministry of Time by Kayleigh Bradley. First of all, this cover, literally sci-fi defined. It's like super sci-fi-ish looking, right? It's like Tetris in space. That's what it reminds me of. And this is basically about a sort of ministry, or like place where you can like travel back in time, back and forth in time, and like they analyze these people in time, and they try to analyze like if this person had been saved this particular day instead of dying this day, how would the future change? And they basically analyze all that data, and there's this one person that's sentenced to watch over this man who's supposed to die in some particular day or another, but I think they form a romance, and that is what happens. And I'm excited to read this. So that's that one. The Ministry of Time by Kayleigh Bradley. All right, so the next two books that I got, the last two books that I got from Book of the Month, are from Abby Jimenez. So I got her book of the year for free, yours truly, and I'm excited for this one. I heard that Abby Jimenez writes romances, which again, I'm not a huge fan of like strictly romance, but I heard that Abby Jimenez's books are a lot more detailed and have a lot more depth to just versus it just being a like fluffy romance. It deals with like different mental illnesses. I believe this one specifically deals with like mental illness and other topics, other more like intense topics, other than just strictly just being like a fluffy romance. So I'm excited to give her a shot. I might do a whole vlog for her during the course of the summer, because all her books seem to be very like summer-y reads. So I have Part of Your World, I have this one, and then I also have Just for the Summer, which is her newest release, that I actually heard you should read the other two books by her before you get to this one. But I definitely want to read this one over the course of the summer, because I mean, it's called Just for the Summer. And I believe this one is 4 dates, a kiss, and a breakup. That's all it will take to find their soulmate. So basically there's these two characters, and I think both of these characters seem to find their soulmate after they break up with this person. So this guy is like talking about on like a social media thread, talking about how every single time him and his ex-girlfriend break up, they seem to find their true love after after them. And this girl's like, oh cool, like the same thing happens to me. So they decide to fake date together and then afterwards break up, and hopefully they find each other's soulmate. And it's a romance, so we can only assume what's gonna happen. And I'm excited for this one a lot. I want a fluffier read for the summer, so this is gonna be a nice one to read when I'm on vacation. Okay, so the next book that I got from Book of the Month is one that I'm really excited that I got because they actually sold out already. And that was their short story collection that they put in this like little Ziploc baggie. They're volume 0, and I think it's a collection of like short thrillers or mysteries, but it's just called volume 0. And literally it's this like translucent paper, and then on the inside you see the title of all these stories. I don't know, like I said, I don't know exactly what it's about, but I'm glad I got it because they're sold out. All right, so next I have a tiny little itty bitty stack here, and these are the books that I got on TikTok. So first thing that I got is the Shadow Work Journal by A Guide to Integrate and Transcend Your Shadows. This was gifted to me because I have another YouTube channel called like The Witchypreneur, where I do a lot of like spiritual stuff and like witchy stuff, a lot of like spiritual stuff and like paranormal stuff on there. And so I got gifted this one so I could do like a whole review on it. And I'm excited to get to this one, but that's this one that I got here. So we shall see how that goes. I can put the link down below if you guys want to check out my TikTok, my other TikTok and my other YouTube channel. If you guys are into like supernatural stuff, that channel is literally all about like paranormal, supernatural, mystical. I do tarot readings, all that stuff on there. But the other two I purchased, and that is these two right here. This is a series, a duology. There might be more that haven't come out yet, but this stack right here, it came up as like on my feed as like one of those like book ads or whatever, and it looks so good that I was like, okay, I need to get it. And I think I'm gonna do a whole reading vlog where I read nothing but like TikTok books, like books from like TikTok authors that are like lesser known. So I got Sleep in Spirit, which is book 1, and then Freedom and Fire, which is book 2, and the author is Courtney Thorne. I can try to put the link below as long as I remember to where I got these on TikTok, but she signed it, which I loved. And it also came with like different art prints. This is gorgeous. It came with like a map. And then this one, I'm assuming is going to be like a spicy print, and it says, don't open until after chapter 20. So I'm assuming this is going to be a spicy print, and I'm excited for that. Like, heck yes, I want a spicy print. So the first book is Sleep in Spirit, and it says here, as the only female born into a royal family in over 400 years, freedom was never going to be an option. Okay, so I remember what this one's about. So this one is about a girl that has like, I guess, I don't know if like women are rare to like these royal families, but she is promised to multiple men. And so the dad like promises his daughter to all these men, but the men don't know that they're all promised to one woman. So it's like almost like a bachelor-ish sort of competition, except they don't know that they're in a competition. And this woman has like multiple potential mates. I'm not sure if it's going to be a wide choose where she gets to keep all of them, but it seems so interesting. So as you can see, the lands are like split into different elements. You have like spirit, fire, earth, air, and it almost seems like each book is going to talk about a different kingdom. But I'm excited. I think she has like 5 different, yeah, gifted with the elements of all 5 kingdoms. Okay, yes, I'm excited for this one. So those are the books from TikTok. Now let's move on to, I have my stack here. These books are from Pango Books, which is a app where you can like sell and like buy used books. I can put it down below. I can also link my little store down below too, because I have a lot of books that I need to get rid of to make room for new books. Anyway, so I got a few books from here. The first one is Kaiki by Vaishnavi Patel. I hope I'm saying that right. This is a Indian mythology retelling. I actually owned this book before, but I didn't read it, so I thought I wasn't gonna pick it up. So I actually ended up giving it away, and now I regret that, and I just bought it again because I'm like, okay, why didn't I read this? I'm dumb because this is definitely something that I know I would love if I actually read it. So I picked it up again. She thick, but I heard it's an Indian mythology retelling, and I've heard nothing but beautiful things about it, so I'm excited to get to this one. Okay, so the next book that I got is White Smoke by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is another YA book, but this is a horror book, and I actually heard about this book by Jordaline Reeds, who says that this book is actually pretty terrifying. And when she said that, I'm like, okay, if she's saying it's terrifying, I need to pick this up, because I have been searching for a book that is going to scare the living daylights out of me. So I'm excited to see if this one does just that. I'm gonna have a whole reading vlog coming out in October where I try to find books that actually scare me and that keep me up at night. I'm hoping this will be the one, but we shall see. I don't know anything about what it's about. I think it's a haunted house story. Yeah, it seems like it's a haunted house story. Household items vanish, doors open on their own, lights turn off, shadows walk past rooms, voices can be heard in the walls, and there's a foul smell sweeping. Okay, so this is a haunted house story. I'm excited for this. I'm hoping it's terrifying. I'm hoping it's scary, and that's all I can hope for. That it's entertaining, terrifying, and chills me to my core. The next book that I got is a romance, but this is a romance that everybody's been talking about, and it's a romance with a man that has tattoos, and I love tattoos. I've been telling my fiance to get a tattoo, and he just does not want to do it, but I'm like, dude, just please get a tattoo. And that is Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. I don't know what this is about at all, but I heard nothing but good things about it. Okay, I'm not typically like a romance girly, but I have been reading a lot of heavier stuff, so I thought maybe a little break in between the heavy stuff might be a good thing, and so we shall see. Plus, I like the color scheme. Okay, look at the color scheme. Look at the cover. This is beautiful. We enjoy this. This is pretty. Oh, I think this is a second chance romance. Yeah, this is a second chance romance. I am excited, and we got a blurb by Allie Hazelwood up at the top. The next book that I got, the last book that I got at Pango Books, on Pango Books, why can't I speak, is one that was actually recommended by one of my coworkers. I can't remember which one, but she told me to read this one, and that is The Rook by Danielle O'Malley. This is I believe a fantasy or a sci-fi with a lot of like political intrigue in it. I like the cover, the side, the spine. Oh, that's gorgeous. I don't know what it's about. Just what I said, I think it has some sort of political intrigue on Her Majesty's Supernatural Secret Service. Oh, okay, so it's a Secret Service, Supernatural Secret Service. And maybe it has something to do with chess, because it's called The Rook, and it looks like a chessboard. I don't know, but I heard it's good. My coworker told me to read it, and I told her to read Fourth Wing, and she checked it out, and she's obsessed. So if she tried Fourth Wing after I told her to, I'm gonna have to check out her book too, do her the same courtesy, and we shall see how this goes. But that is The Rook. She thick, she big, she is gorgeous. Yeah. Okay, so last but certainly not least, definitely not least, I have a huge stack here from Barnes & Noble. As you can see, it's pretty big. So I'm just gonna start all the way from the top and then make my way down. The first one being Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This one came out in February, I believe. I got the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. Honestly, I don't notice the difference between the Barnes & Noble's exclusive edition and the regular one. I don't know, but if you guys see it, tell me. I don't know if it's like the reflective things that are happening here. I don't know if that's the only difference, but I don't notice the difference between the two. However, this one is a paranormal romance. I'm excited to read this one because Ali Hazelwood just tends to write a lot of STEM. So it's going to be nice to read a different sort of genre, romance genre from her. This is about a werewolf and a vampire that have to form an alliance. So they basically end up getting married, and obviously this is her enemy. They're each other's enemy. So I believe the vampire wants to unalive the wolf alpha husband, but something happens and a romance ensues. And I'm excited. I've heard mixed things about this one, but for the most part, they've been pretty positive. So I'm excited to read this one and see how it goes. I am a huge fan of paranormal romances, supernatural anything I'm all for. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy that one. The next book that I got is Be Happier Now. It's 100 Simple Ways to Become Instantly Happier by Jacob Zager Weinstein. And this comes with a habit tracker that I think is really awesome. So during the month of April, I had a mental breakdown, which if you guys saw my video, you guys probably know that I had a mental breakdown. And I was like on a kick to like just try to read and do different things to make me happy again because I was just so insanely depressed. And so I picked this up. I have not read it. I have not done anything on it, but I definitely need to be on top of that, you know, because mental health is important. The next book that I got is The Best Way to Bury Your Husband by Alexia Castle. And this one is basically about a whole bunch of wives. We follow one specific wife, right? And she has just unalived her husband. This man treats her like absolute dog shiznit. Okay, he is there's a lot of DA, there's a lot of A in general. He has done some pretty awful things to her, and one day she just snaps and she ends up murdering him with her grandma's skillet, and now she just doesn't know what to do with the body. And then on the other side of town, there's other women that have done the same thing with their horrible husbands. And then they find each other and it's like, oh my gosh, you murdered your husband? Me too. Like, let's get together. Let's form a group. Let's figure out how we're going to make them disappear. And that is exactly what happens. This is a dark comedy that reminds me so much of Why Women Kill. If you guys love that show, you guys would definitely really enjoy this book. I liked it. Okay, I finished it. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. It was definitely a very fun read, a very like good for her sort of read, very like female rage. This book was everything, and it had a lot of comedy to it. It had a lot of friendship. This book was great. I enjoyed this one a lot. The next one that I got is, I'm going to actually be doing a vlog about this, but I want to start reading books in my like native language. So before I learned English, I was actually a Spanish speaker. You probably can't tell, but I lost my Spanish. Like, I can still speak it, but I have like a really heavy accent, and there's a lot of words that like I can't, I don't know, like I have like little gaps that I'm like, I don't know how to say it in Spanish. So I'm hoping that reading in Spanish would like really help with that. So I did get The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and this is in Spanish. So I actually want to start reading YA books in Spanish, because obviously it's YA, so it's not going to be as complex as like reading an adult novel and like reading those huge words, because reading those words in Spanish out of all languages, even though it's my native language, it's crazy because it's my native language. Like, it's the first language that I learned, but it's also the first language that I forgot. Because I mean, I grew up here. And yes, so I'm going to read this in Spanish. I heard that this is really good. This is another book that like is a thriller. and they have like supernatural like powers or something like that, and they like figure out the mysteries, things like that. They help with crime with their powers. That's all I know. And the next one that I got, sorry, was also during my mental breakdown, and I got Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, How to Lose Your Mind and Create a New One by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Now, Dr. Joe Dispenza has studied biochemistry. He also holds a Bachelor of Science degree with an emphasis in neuroscience, and has earned his Doctor of Chiropractic. And so he loves learning about neurology, neuroscience, brain function, chemistry, but he also mixes in a lot of spirituality. And when I say spirituality, you guys, I don't mean like religion based. I just mean like spiritual, like, you know, like spiritual stuff, not necessarily like meditation, chakras, all that stuff. Like, that's what I mean by spirituality. So he mixes spirituality with science and like bridges that gap. And like I said, I've been very into that sort of stuff. So this one is about you using like different techniques to sort of rewire your brain to think differently and becoming the person that you were truly meant to or want to become in this lifetime. And yeah, this one is very text heavy, so I haven't finished it, but I did start it. The next book that I got is actually a coloring book, but I got A Court of Thorns and Roses, a coloring book by Sarah J. Maas. I colored like one so far. I haven't even finished it, but this is what we got. Okay, my daughter was helping me, and we were using markers, and I should have done color pencils because the colors are just not okay. Like, we're not okay with these colors here, but I tried my best. So this is what I got. I know Feyre has red hair, but I gave her black hair because I wanted to. And so that's what we got. And then it has the quote, and each picture does that. So you have like the quote from the book where this picture is in. So this is like where she is hunting and she sees the Fey wolf and like things like that. So this is just, I don't know, this is really cute. And then with that, I also got A Court of Silver Flames. You guys probably already seen this book if you watched my ACOTAR reading vlog where I read ACOTAR for the first time. This is the most recent release into the series. I know there's going to be more, and I'm hoping she writes that one soon, but we're probably not expecting it till like 2025 or 2026. But ACOTAR is all about Feyre. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling about this woman named Feyre who had a luxury upbringing up until the dad lost like all the money, and then the mom ended up not being alive anymore, so Feyre kind of had to take over because the dad has a bad leg, and she's the one that does like all the hunting for the family, but her family treats her like absolute trash, and she ends up accidentally killing a Fey, basically coded as a wolf. And then this beast comes in and is like, hey, you killed one of my people, so the treaty says that you're gonna have to come live with me for the rest of your days. And Feyre does it just that, and then a romance ensues, and then the story takes off from there. And this is the most recent release in that series. And as you can see, Sarah J. Maas tends to write like the first book is small, and then each book that releases after that tends to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So that one was probably the heftiest out of all of them in the series, if I'm not mistaken. The next one that I got is one that I was so excited for, but I'm probably not going to read till like November, and that is Can't Spell Treason Without Tea. This is a cozy fantasy novel, and I believe it looks like it's going to be sapphic. I'm hoping that it's going to be sapphic. We shall see. This is Tomes and Tea Book 1. As you can see, we have the stenciled edges, and look at this artwork! I'm obsessed. So it says, run away with me, the mage had said. Her eyes alight, you like tea, I like books. Let's open a shop somewhere remote and forget the world exists. It's so, I love cozy fantasy. It's just my shiznit. Sapphic cozy fantasy. even more my shiznit, and I'm excited for this one. I'm excited for this one. Okay, so continuing on, we have Murder Your Employer by Rupert Holmes. Now this was a Barnes & Noble monthly book pick or monthly pick, and this is basically about an elite academy that teaches you the art. It's called the execution of homicidal arts. That's what it's called. I mainly got this one because somebody told me it was really good, and then I was like, okay, cool, and I liked the cover. But what sold me is when they told me, yeah, do you know who the author is? And I was like, who? And they're like, oh, it's the Pina Colada song guy. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah. So if you guys know the whole, if you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain, that song, this is the author of this book. And that's why I was like, okay, sold, because that song is like the most brutal but beautiful love song ever. I love it. I love the story it tells. So I know this is gonna be a good one. Next, we have another YA book that I got in Spanish, and that is Destrozame by Tahira Mafi, or Shatter Me. This is the first book in the Shatter Me series. Another one that I'm going to be reading in Spanish for that vlog that I'm going to actually that's actually going to be coming out in September for Hispanic Heritage Month. So I'm excited for this one so much. I'm excited. And the next one that I got is the second book in the Three Body Problem series, and that is The Dark Forest by Susan Liu. So if you guys do not know, I read the first book in this series called The Three Body Problem, and this is basically like a sci-fi book. It has like cool shit. That's the only way that I can explain it. It has cool shit. It has aliens. It has crazy sci-fi stuff. It has particle colliders. It has VR. It's really good. Okay, it's really good. Like, the plot is so complex, I can't even explain it. But the book itself is so good, and I thought I was gonna be lost when I was reading it, and I was not. Okay, I was not. I was very entertained. And I know that it just came out as a Netflix series, but I want to finish the trilogy before I read the series, before I watch the series. And this one is a lot thicker than the Three Body Problem, but I'm excited. This one was translated by a different person. Oh, so I hope that doesn't affect anything. I think the other one was like translated by Kevin Lau or something like that. Oh, we'll see how this one goes, because this is translated by a completely different person. So we'll see. Now the next book that I got was Monstrillo by Gerardo Samano Cordova. This is a Mexican author, I believe. Yes. So he's from Mexico City, and I read the first page of this one, and it absolutely destroyed me. Just the first page. It's literally a masterpiece. So I know that this book is going to be in itself a whole masterpiece. And in this one, we are following a mother, and she loses her son, but she keeps like his lung or something like that, and she like nurtures it, and it becomes like a little monster that she like has to obviously hide away from the world. But she like thinks it's like her son reincarnated, but no matter what, this monster is still a monster. No matter how much she tries to teach him to be human, he can't. So I know that this one's going to absolutely devastate me and make me cry and make me scream, but I'm excited for it. So I might be reading this one during September as well, because I want to read a lot of books by like Hispanic authors for Hispanic Heritage Month. So this is probably going to be on the list for that. Next, this book just came out. I have no idea what it's about, but I saw it at Barnes & Noble, and I was like, oh, I need to get it. And that is home where the bodies are. If you are a millennial, then you know that this is a VHS tape, okay? This is like a cartridge thing that you would put your VHSs in it. And what? Like literally it slides out like a VHS tape. And it looks like a VHS tape, and I'm just obsessed. And I think it's about like this like girl or lady or woman or something that's like, I guess her parents are gone or something like that. And like she starts rewatching like different old home movies, and then she sees one of her parents, and I think they're like burying a body or something like that. And something happens. Something like that happens. I don't know too much about what it's about, but it gives me 90s vibes, and I need to read that because I love it. Now, the last two books that I'm going to show you to complete this whole thing is books that I actually already own, but I needed to get it again because they republished it with a huge publishing, with Bloom, with a publishing company, and I needed to get the new covers, and that is Guild and Glint, the Play the Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy, because look at it. Literally just look at it. They go so well together, okay? They follow the same pattern. They, like, there's no way that I couldn't get these. They're like gorgeous. These are literally like the two most beautiful books I've ever seen in my life, okay? In my life. And then you take this off, and there's like, come on, and it's gold. Stenciled edges. Like, need I say more? Need I say more? Like, this is absolutely stunning. Like, I don't need to say anything else. This is beautiful. And I'm in love with it. Okay? And even here, I needed this. So this one we are following, it's a King Midas retelling. And we are following this king's favorite, I think, what does he call her? Because I read the first one. It's Satchel, not Satchel. He doesn't call her Satchel. The things that they use to like put on the horses, ride, saddle. A king's favorite saddle, and you can only imagine what that means. And she's basically kept away from everyone else because she's like literally gold plated, and she's the only king's saddle that can be played with by the king, and to everyone else she has to be like locked away, and she's like tired of being locked away, and so she decides that she doesn't want to be locked away anymore. And the first book I did not like because I just didn't like how she was treated, and it was so like misogynistic and like sexist, and but I heard that it gets better. I heard that it gets a lot better. So I'm going to continue with the series and actually hope that it does get better. I definitely need to clean the back of this one. Yeah, and I have high hopes. So anyways, you guys, that is it. That is literally all the books that I got. As you can see, I got 42, 43-ish books here that I got over the past few months. And I think I'm going to stop. Maybe. No, I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna slow down my pacing on how I buy these books because I definitely need to read them before I continue to keep buying some. So anyways, you guys, that is all the books. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a super long video. If you guys haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. Turn on that notification bell to be notified when I post. I post 2 to 3 times a week. And yes, also down in the links below, I'm going to have my Goodreads, I'm going to have my Booktok, and I'm going to have my Amazon wish list down there as well. Anyways, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.